I don't know.
I'm curious how this works out.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. It's not windy in here.
Sounds windy to me. I am your father. I can't reach. Can somebody hit the music button? Yes. And here we are back again for episode. Are you guys ready? Double digits. 10.
Yeah.
10.
Episode 10. Episode 10.
It's the podcast for skiers, by skiers, about skiers, and snowboarders. But our one snowboarder turned into a skier because of the podcast. 10 episodes, and you will start skiing.
You know what? I'm still both. I just like being on the snow.
I have not seen you snowboard since you started skiing.
Yeah,
it's true. I'm practicing, but I miss it. I'm going to be honest.
All right, so let's get started with episode 10. What's everybody drinking today? Again, it's a dry January, which I know is going to end at the X Games in a couple of days. But I'll start off. And I'm a big fan of the Athletic Brew. It's non-alcoholic beer, and I'm drinking the Ironman branded personal record.
I think all three of us grabbed the same kind. The Lagunitas Island Beats.
It's really good. I'm not a huge IPA guy because I did bring my handy dandy Coors Light just in case I didn't like this one.
It's disgusting.
It's Lagunitas.
Lagunitas.
All right, so we had the big storm. It lasted like 8 days, but it unfortunately ended before the weekend. But then we had some nice weather, and the bases at all the ski areas pretty much across the board doubled, which is pretty unusual. And Ryan, what'd you do this week for skiing?
Well, when the storm came in, I was actually producing an event in Arizona. So
that was a whole podcast ago. So we're just talking about.
I'm just saying, I wasn't here for that podcast. Jeez Louise, guys. I went to Keystone when I got back home, and it was great. It was a warm bluebird day. Emphasis on warm. I was well overdressed. It probably got into the high 30s, almost 40. But the snow was really good, and it was really warm, and got a little sunburn. It was great. It was a good Saturday.
How was I-70 going up to Keystone on a Saturday?
Left at 5:10 and hit traffic up through the merge at US 6.
Oh,
it was probably an average of 35 miles an hour, so it wasn't standstill, but I don't really understand when I have to leave my house if it's not 5 a.m.
Man,
it's a crapshoot. It
That's
really
wild.
is, especially with all that snow. You kind of predicted it, but anticipated it at least. But kind of a bummer. But yeah, after that merge with 6, it opened. It was wide open all the way back up to Keystone. Took the pass. No one was on the pass, and then got there. And I parked in a new lot actually, which is a little bit outside of the normal lot, but it's like ski in, ski out to your car rather than walk through the village.
Nice.
So that was a plus, and got there an hour and a half early and hung out and went skiing. It was a good day.
Nice.
Left there at 1:30. Didn't hit any traffic on the way home.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Nice.
Super cool.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was reaffirmed to me this past weekend. I went skiing on Sunday and went to Winter Park, left really early, got up there really early. Was at the parking lot by like 7:15. So, and the upper lot, which I believe they call the Corona lot. I call it the G lot, and let the dogs out. We walked up the slope a little bit. And so what a great experience. Fantastic snow at Winter Park, or Mary Jane even. Skied the bumps, great day, but a menagerie of lift problems. Multiple broken down chairlifts. And if you follow us on social, you saw the short clip of video with what looked like a 20-minute line. It was like 100 meters long, and it was a busy day, but it was worth it. It was great skiing, and I want to give a shout out to the Eagle Wind area. What a cool part of any ski area. It's all advanced skiing. It's all named after Native Americans and Native American tribes and features, and it's steep tree skiing, and it was fantastic until the myriad of lift problems reached out and grabbed us. And I guess it's an old one of the oldest chairs I've ridden on. It's an old Yan chair, a 3-person fixed grip, and they were only loading people on every other chair. And if you've ever skied Eagle Wind, that probably still wouldn't create a lift line. But due to the other lift lines on the mountain, it sent a lot of people over to Eagle Wind. And yeah, it took us an hour and like 20 minutes to get back from Winter Park to Mary Jane. And then there weren't big lift lines, but it was worth it.
So something about Eagle Wind, you sent us an article from Winter Park, just speaking of that specific lift. And we're going to post a link to this in the description of this podcast about how the trails around the Eagle Wind lift got their names. And it's all from Native American tribes from the area, which is really sweet. So I'm going to link that article in the description below.
And I know this is going to be a big statement. I'm going to tell you right now, it's some of the best skiing in North America. And here's why. Nobody skis over there. If you like advanced steep trees, there's little pockets of opening. It reminds me of a place in Steamboat called, I think it's the Windows. And it's just these little pockets open up. There's no aspen trees like in Steamboat, but these little pockets open up and then it gets tight again and then it opens up. The snow is fantastic and nobody skis over there, unfortunately, on Sunday because of the other broken down lifts. But it is some spectacular skiing and it's got a great vibe and a lot of really good skiers over there. I mean, there's good skiers at Winter Park, Mary Jane all the time. Like that's one place where you just aren't the best bump skier on the mountain. And you go over to Eagle Wind and there's kids ripping through the trees, like skiing freestyle trees and stuff. I really can't say enough good things about Eagle Wind. 1,600 vertical feet. And then you probably couldn't ski all the lines in a day. You know, there's like 6 or 7, 8 runs, and then they all have 3 or 4 lines on them. So it'd probably take you 2 or 3 days to ski all the lines over there. And
That's
it would
awesome.
be worth it. Yeah,
I can't believe I don't think I've ever been over there. So you're selling me, that's for sure.
We stumbled upon it a season or two ago, just exploring the mountain. We're like, whoa. And then we took another run. We're like, whoa.
It's a commitment. I mean,
like
like we were talking about, if you know you're going to start and end your day on the Mary Jane side, that's a commitment.
It can be. And I'll give you a tip. If you're barring no lift problems, and I love Winter Park, but there's some of their lifts are aging, including the Eagle Wind lift, which is an old Yan lift. A great way to do it if you're coming from Mary Jane is ride up the panorama lift to the top and then ski down the traverse. And then you can get there from the top of Mary Jane, but if you go up to the panorama, you can actually get a Eagle Wind run in while you're going over there.
Without actually going over to the Winter Park side. Like, you don't have to go all the way down to the bottom to come back up.
And then let me tell you something I learned the hard way on getting back is just go all the way down and do like the around the horn, the rendezvous or whatever the around the horn is at Mary Jane to get back. You'll know what I mean when you get there. But what I did was like, I'm going to ski down to, I think it was the Pioneer Express, and it was broken down or having problems. And then we had to go down to almost the base area at Winter Park, and then the line that's on our social, which was just the longest line I've ever seen in my life. But again, I want to be super clear. It was all worth it. It was a great day. And then went over and skied long haul and short haul at Mary Jane, which are 2 classic bump runs. And then we were out of there at 12:30, went by Home Depot and was home by 2:15 watching football.
Right on.
Nice.
And just to clarify, it wasn't a weather-related thing with the lifts, right? They were mechanical, or was it windy?
All of them were mechanical issues.
Man,
and
that's harsh.
I looked today, and apparently I don't know if they're still loading every other chair at Eagle Wind, but the other, like the 4-pack lifts were all appeared to be open on the app.
That's good.
And I do like their app. It could have helped me if I would have trusted it. But when I saw that there were some lifts not open, I was like, those don't affect me because I'm going to just go over and hit the Eagle Wind lift and come back. And due to the fact that the Eagle Wind lift was blown up from every other chair getting filled up, then I had to venture into Winter Park, which Winter Park's a great place, but it's not my favorite place to ski, short of Eagle Wind. which is some of the best skiing, as I said, not just in Colorado, but in North America. If you like that stuff, it's steep trees. They're single blacks, but they're 30 plus degrees, all of them. And then they're 1,600 vertical feet, which is a good whack.
Wow.
Yeah, you can get a solid day in there in just a couple hours.
Yeah. So let's move forward. Ryan and his ski boot situation. Did I miss something?
No. I was just going to say last podcast, so episode 9, we all talked about kind of our boot situation as well as some of the boot issues that some of us, myself included, had on the mountain that last week. And we had also talked about a Redditor that we had found that reached out and wanted to discuss boot fitting because of something Ryan said. His name is also Ryan. He is from Winter Park.
Yeah.
He is a boot fitter at Winter Park. And Ryan, what do you want to tell us?
The dude is awesome. We reached out and we actually had a chance to talk to him. So Ryan, what's going on, man?
Howdy. I'm also Ryan. Thank you, Ryan.
So we got the Ryans on today, and we're going to talk about skiing. So why don't you first tell everybody a little bit about your background and what you got going on?
Cool. Yeah, so I grew up skiing at Wilmot, or as our locals would refer to it, the trash pile. So about 200 feet of vertical gain in Wisconsin. And yeah, I mean, that was good enough to get started and really start a love for skiing with me. But I think some 5 or 6 years ago moved out here to Winter Park and have been working at the resort as well as some spots in town, and now work as a boot fitter. So yeah, the rest is pretty much history. I just really like skiing.
No, right on. And we're in a similar boat there. I'm sure if you listen to the previous episodes, I mentioned the Wissahickon ski hill. It was a 100-foot hill with a T-bar. My parents are members, and it's pretty much where I learned how to ski since I could walk, plus all over the East Coast, Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania. So a lot in common. Winter Park is definitely one of our favorite places to ski. You were out skiing today?
Yeah, absolutely. And a little bit warm, but we've gotten a good dose of some fresher snow. So absolutely happy for that after some drier months at the beginning of the season, as we've been talking about. But yeah, real good day today out there.
Right on. Yeah, no, I was over at Keystone over the weekend, and I was texting our group. I was over there on Saturday. Great conditions, but like you mentioned today, it definitely got a little warm. So I was sending a text out to the guys saying, hey, might want to be careful on Sunday. It could get a little firm after the warm weather we've been having, but it's kind of hard to argue a bluebird day and softer snow, right?
Yeah, really, and I've got no qualms with anything right now as long as we've got good coverage, which, yeah, I mean, it was such a struggle early season as far as coverage and terrain openings and that sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, even if it is a little slushy, sticky out there right now, no qualms. I mean, there's just so much more terrain and good trees and bumps out there now. Hard not to be happy with what you got.
No, totally. Just sliding around on snow. Well, let's get into the interesting part of this. We connected on Reddit. Marcus from the podcast reached out to Reddit and said, hey, check it out. And Ryan was one of the commenters. Ryan did not like my comment. As Ryan mentioned, he's a boot fitter. He did not like my comment, and I want to clarify my comment before we get into this. I was a shop kid on the East Coast who had no formal training in boot fitting, although I did a lot of boot fitting for a couple years. Then moved out to Colorado and did some boot fitting at Loveland, where I actually got taught a little bit more. What I was trying to say, Ryan, and this is where the conversation will actually probably get interesting, is I was always taught ski boots aren't meant for standing or walking. We'll put you in the boot. We'll ask you the right questions, right? Are your toes on the front? All right, now lean forward. Are your toes off the front? You know, is there any crazy pinch points or anything? Nope. Okay, cool. My suggestion is to go out and ski on them. Take the boots, go out and ski on them. Every shop I've ever worked at, you buy the skis from us, and we're going to work on your boots until they fit right. Bring them back. We'll work on them. We'll make them right for you. We'll punch them out. We'll heat mold them. We'll do all that. But go ski them. because boots are meant to be skied in and not stood in or walked in. I know everybody gets in their boots and starts walking around. It's a little bit, in my opinion, weird that that's not a natural movement when you're skiing. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're one of the biggest things we're doing in boot fitting through our heat molding or anything is paying a lot of attention to where your foot is sitting inside of the boot. Obviously, we don't want you to have a whole lot of space behind your heel, that sort of thing. So we're always, and when we're doing molding, putting a boot onto you, always having you do those heel taps to set your foot back in the boot, get as close as possible to where you would have your foot in the boot while you're skiing. But yeah, I mean, I'd absolutely agree that ultimately the best way for you to find any problems in your boot is to ski on them. Yeah, because you have so much more leverage and energy transfer going on in there that, yeah, you'll probably only really get a great idea of if the foot is perfect after skiing on them. And I guess, yeah, my only qualm is when people will try to avoid heat molding for the idea that they'll get more longevity out of your liner. I think heat molding, you're probably taking about maybe 7 days of life out of your liner, personally.
Wow, that's interesting. I've never had someone quantify it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say like the only things I would really remedy out the gate in a shop while I'm doing a boot fitting would be, yeah, like real serious pressure points, bunions, bone spurs. You have a huge malleolus, navicular, whatever. Any of that stuff that is just really, really hurting is probably the only stuff that I'm going to do day one on your boot. Beyond that, slight pressure points and just little bits of push. If it's not uncomfortable, probably just skiing on it is going to be your best way to mold out that space. But yeah, as far as a heat mold goes, I think more or less everybody should do that, as really all it's doing is expediting the break-in of those liners. And yeah, like I said, about a week or so maybe is what you're taking out of the liner space-wise or cushion-wise. But yeah, it's surprising how many people will just grab boots and kind of rock with it and not really think that boots can be comfortable. They absolutely can. So
Yeah, no, 100%. They can perform well and be comfortable. Why don't we give a shout out to your shop? Where are you fitting boots these days?
the local Christie Sports. I believe y'all are well hooked in with the Christie's gang, and yeah, I think we do a real good job up here at the Winter Park shop. So shout out to all the guys there. Pete, kind of the local legend for that. Absolutely a master of the craft, doing it longer than I've been alive. So pretty cool stuff.
Those are the guys you got to get in front of. Yeah, I actually got my boots 2 seasons ago at the Christie's down here in Boulder. And they take care of me. Anytime I need something, I go in there, and they're always willing to help, and they're super knowledgeable with everything they do. Let me ask, what's your opinion on footbeds? I know that they can be pricey, and you can get custom ones. You can get kind of the regular orthotics. Yeah. As a boot fitter, what's your opinion on them?
I think that in general, if you can make an insole happen, it's probably a good idea. I think a lot of people can get away with skiing on the stock insoles that come with their boots. If it doesn't cause a problem for them, awesome. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. There's no need to spend money on trying to make a boot fit better, do something if you aren't having a problem or aren't looking for better performance. But if you are looking for a more snug, locked-in fit, or you are having issues with pain on the bottom of your foot, absolutely, I think even just like a super feed or cut-to-shape insole is going to be a vast improvement over what they ship in ski boots. I mean, I don't know if you've ever pulled out your stock ski boot insole and taken a look at it, but it's pretty not durable and not that supportive when you look at the rest of the ski boot. I would almost say that they throw it in there so you could ski on it if you wanted to, but I feel like ski manufacturers or boot manufacturers aren't like, yep, that you should definitely ski on this stock insole. I think the idea is if you're serious, you kind of pull that out, throw it out, and grab yourself some actual molded insoles. But yeah, I mean, the benefits to them are pretty outstanding. I'd absolutely encourage it if it's within the realm of reason for people financially.
No, I totally agree. I had a pair, was having issues with them, took them back to Christie's, they shaved them down, and it made a world of difference for me. I don't have a high arch, I don't have a low arch. It's just kind of in the middle,
Right.
but it definitely, in my opinion, felt like it locked me into the boot better. And before, I was just skiing on those stock ones, which it was funny. The guy there, he's like, "Yeah, man, those are just a template, dude. Like they are not meant to be skied on. They're so that we can cut out your insoles when we custom fit them to your foot." And I was like, "Wow, that actually makes a lot of sense."
Yeah, it's a pretty common train of thought. Like I said, I mean, it's a way that they can just kind of sell a boot that if you want to go ski in it, you absolutely can. But I mean, there's a reason those things aren't super well built. It's just kind of a sheet of foam that's stamped out in a foot shape and dropped into the boot.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are real good templates for cutting out those DFP insoles. And but yeah, those are great. I love working with those. Very easy to add or subtract volume to those insoles, and that cork compound is pretty magic to ski on.
What boots are you wearing these days?
Yeah, so I'm in the Dalbello Lupo factory. So that is a sort of three-piece hybrid from Dalbello. They're labeled as a 130 flex, but I really don't think that they're anywhere close to that with their construction and some of the mods have done with the boot as far as a booster strap and doing some real weird stuff to the tongue with a Dremel, but I wouldn't recommend that for the average Joe. And then I ride the Zip Fits as well, which have worked real well for
Okay.
me. Um, those get a lot of attention. They're a great liner. I will say they're not right for everybody. They're not like the end all be all as far as liners go. Like I always say, our guy Pete up at the Christie's here, not a big fan of the Zip Fits for himself personally, so he'll still ride like Intuition liners. But for those of us who they do fit, pretty awesome, and they last a lot longer than the foam liners do as well. So probably the most comfortable.
They're cork, right?
Yeah, that's like the cork injectee pouch ankle and tongue liner.
Yeah.
Really heavy, I will say that. Definitely not saving a whole lot of weight with those. But ultimately, it's on your feet, and it feels nice when you're skiing to have a pretty weighty boot. And yeah, I really like them. I've had a lot of issues in the past with shin bang and just getting a good heel lock because I have a very narrow kind of lower shin and ankle, and that's just what worked for me. Personally, I'm at Lafitte Lab here in Winter Park for my boot work, which is funny that I work a couple doors down as another boot fitter at Christie's. But Lafitte Lab just works for me and my feet. And yeah, that's really the biggest thing for boots is you find somebody who works well with you and your boots and can get it comfortable. And that's the most important thing. So
Yeah, even boot fitters have boot fitters, right? And I mean, everyone wants to be comfortable, and there's always someone who knows more than you do. And
oh yeah, absolutely. I only do some of my work. I wish I could say I had all the tools and all the knowledge I need, even as a boot fitter, to nail everything out, which for the most part I do, but I'm absolutely still asking other guys what they think about certain mods or, hey, you think I can get away with drilling this tongue a little bit more to make it softer and more suitable for my park rat needs? Stuff like that. But yeah, it's a whole adventure. What boots are you in? I'm curious.
I'm actually in a pair of Dalbellas myself. I'm in a pair of the El Moros.
Oh yeah,
So
very nice.
interesting for me is, I came from the Atomic Hawks line. I have a really narrow foot and ankle and leg altogether. I'm a big, tall drink of water. So it was interesting going to a 3-buckle system. And they've worked out, they're not perfect, but I like them. I like them enough that I haven't bought a new pair, I haven't had to do anything crazy to them. They've kind of just fit my foot. And I was going back and forth between the new Hawks last year and these, because they were the two that kind of fit. And yeah, they work great. I would say I love them. I do. It's the first boot that I've been like, okay, I love this boot. It's a good boot. It's just 3 buckles just throw me off. I don't know what it is. It took some getting used to.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's a very kind of different feeling fit from your traditional 4-buckle boot. And yeah, for some people, I find with Talbello, it seems like they can really struggle to get a good heel lock in there, which until I got my zip fits in those Lupos, I definitely did.
The biggest draw for me was that middle, the second buckle, and you push that thing down and your heel doesn't move at all. Even I just have the liners they came with, and then my insole, and I don't have any problem with heel lift. A little bit of shin bang here and there, but it's probably because I'm too lazy to put my boosters on, and I still have the stock power strap.
I was going to say, you throw a booster on there, run it underneath the shell, and as your panacea for the shin bang.
Yeah. And I actually stumbled upon them yesterday. It's funny we're talking about this because, you know what? I should really put these things on. So that's put it on the to-do list. There's always something to do with the skis. I mean, shoot, I don't think I've waxed my skis all season, which is a bad thing. Well, man, it's been a pleasure. Is there anything else you want to cover while we still got you here?
I don't know. I mean, I'm more so just along for the ride and offering my 3 cents adjusted for inflation. I would say I'll leave the people with this advice. If you're getting boots, don't buy them online. Go see a boot fitter. Preferably come to me at Christie's so I can sell you boots. But yeah, that's all I got. And ski more, complain less.
Ski more, complain less. Words to live by, Ryan. Well, thank you very much. I'm sure we'll have you back on again with the other guys when they're not working, and maybe we'll see you up at Winter Park one day.
Absolutely. Let me know. I'd love to have you guys show you the secret spots.
We love secret spots.
Well, I, for one, agree with everything they say in the importance of boots. And I know I'm super happy, but Marcus, I think one of the things that I don't use, but I will agree with the importance is an insole, and probably not the factory insole you got with your boot, because most of the factory insoles that come with your boots, they're kind of assuming you're going to deal with it.
I was so glad he talked about that, because that's something I literally never even considered, never crossed my mind. I kind of picture it like buying a pair of shoes. When I buy shoes, I don't buy a new insole. I know some people do, but it's not something I ever considered. But I've seen the insole on my ski boot almost come out, and it's just like a piece of paper, basically.
It's just a piece of foam.
Yeah. But I never even considered that. But he was talking about insoles and liners. I don't know that I'll replace my liner as of yet, but an insole, I think, could go a long way for me.
Well, I think, first of all, big thanks to Ryan working out at the Christie's in Winter Park. Super knowledgeable dude, knows way more than I do, hands down. And it was great to get to talk to him about boot fitting and a few other things. But, yeah, I mean, he touches on it. They can do anything they want to a boot. Like, there's a fix for everything. If you're uncomfortable in your boots, you have a problem, right? And then there's this thing such as a new liner, which is pretty extreme, or insoles, which are super simple. You got to cut the fit, or you can go get a full custom pair over at Christie's, but it can completely change your ski day or the way you ski, just like a new pair of skis did for you.
Yeah.
You got on those RMUs, the next thing you know, you're a completely different skier. Same thing if your feet are comfortable or not sliding around in your boot, which you might not even know they're doing until you get an insole and you're like, oh my gosh, this is a completely different boot. I can ski completely different. And I think that's something a lot of people don't realize, is that little changes in your boot go a very long way.
Yeah. And I'm definitely going to look into insoles, because he said that and it was like a light turned on, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can see. Of course you should replace the insole.
Yeah. One of the things when he said he works at Christie's that came to my attention, and we don't have any affiliation with any ski shop. I wish we did, but we don't. Is Christie's is everywhere in Colorado.
Everywhere.
And if you get fitted in Winter Park and then you're up in Vail and you walk into Christie's, and I know this because I've done it and said, hey, I bought these boots and I'm having a problem. They're not going to be like, go back to Winter Park. They're going to be like, have a seat.
And that's the greatest thing about, Christie's or any shop really is you buy a pair of boots from them, they will 9 times out of 10 want to work on your boots until they're perfect. Like you spent the money at the shop. Ski boots aren't cheap. You can keep bringing them back. They'll heat mold them. They'll put you in custom insoles if you want to, pay the price. And then whatever you need, they're more than happy to do it the majority of the time. So it's always worth going back to your boot fitter and saying what's up, dropping off a 6-pack and getting your boots molded so you're comfortable for the next day, It's an easy way to go about things in the ski industry, especially with people like Ryan. I'm sure he'd be stoked. We got to bring him back on. He's got a lot to say. He's a very knowledgeable person in the ski industry, and he also sounds like he rips. So definitely want to get together and ski with him as well.
Also, next time we get up to Winter Park, we got to go hunt him down.
He told us just pop into Christie, say what's up, and that's kind of what this is all about. And I'm glad we were able to actually connect.
Yeah,
awesome.
I hope I'm up to Winter Park or Mary Jane before the 9th of February, but the 9th of February, we're trying the ski train. And so we'll go do the ski train. And so at a minimum,
we should reach out ahead of time.
We should reach out and ski with them on the 9th.
Yeah.
And we'll go ski Eagle Wind.
Yeah, absolutely.
The best part about that podcast, and I don't know if anyone else caught it, or that when we talked, is it was like a minute or two in, it's, and I'm like, this is our dog. He's cracking it. Whether it was a Coca-Cola or a Lagunitas, it doesn't matter. I was just like, this is going to be all right. This is going to be our dog. So...
Some good news, and this came across social, and if you don't follow your favorite ski areas, most of the ski areas are pretty modern, pretty hip, and they are going to give you all the information online. And I saw Eldora and Copper posted that they were 100% open, which is pretty late for Eldora, but not super late for Copper, just because it's like that Three Bears and all that stuff that's super steep and wind blown and at 11,000 feet. So that stuff opens late anyway.
It was cool. The last time we were at Eldora, they were actually doing the avalanche control or mitigation and blast and dynamite. It was pretty cool to be there when that was happening.
And loud.
Very loud.
And loud. Yeah,
the first one threw me off.
We saw a big blast at Winter Park on Sunday on Vasquez Ridge, and then got to see the avalanche it triggered, which was super cool. So, and a big thanks to all the ski patrolmen and snow safety. And you know what? Everyone that works in the ski industry to make it possible. I know, we kind of brought this up talking amongst ourselves. There's kind of a lot of negative energy in the ski industry these days that people are like, wham, boo-hoo, the Icon Pass, wham, boo-hoo, Vail. And, it is what you make it. Like, I dealt with the worst lift lines I've ever seen at Winter Park on Sunday, and it didn't even put a scratch in my day.
Yeah.
It was such good skiing, and rode up with some amazing people. And I rode up with a guy that said he had been skiing Winter Park for 45 years, and that just so happens how long I've been skiing Winter Park. And he said, yeah, I was one of the Winter Park ski Eskimos. And I was like, oh my God, I was a ski buffalo. And the ski Eskimos were the same kind of thing where you rode a bus up there as a kid, but you went to Winter Park, and we rode the bus up there and went to Mary Jane. And then we kind of joked how the Eskimos and the buffaloes were enemies back in the day. But I just thought it was pretty cool. And and there's a letter to the editor, and we posted to social. We respectfully disagreed with the ski industry vibe and culture is dead. You know what? It ain't dead.
Go to the mountain.
It is what you make it.
The lifties are sitting there jamming out to, Bob Marley, and they're giving high fives. And I don't know where this negative energy is coming from, but it's not on the hill. It's not on the hill because, every once in a while you get some hothead who's pissed that you're skiing better than him and yells at you for cutting him off, which you really didn't. But other than that, the employees and the people you're on a chairlift with, they just want to talk about skiing. They're just happy to be skiing. It's just, it's all right.
And thank you to all of them.
Yeah, big, especially mountain safety right now with the snowpack we have here in Colorado. It's super dangerous. Like you guys were talking about, they're doing all the blasting and stuff, keeping us safe inbounds, and it's huge. We couldn't do it. We couldn't go skiing without them. So Big shout out to Mountain Safety, Ski Patrol, Lifties, all y'all guys.
Snowcat drivers.
Snowcat drivers.
Now,
Ride.
I wonder how much of the view that the vibe of skiing has changed has come from, unfortunately, there's a lot of negativity on social media, just in general, not centered exclusively around skiing and snowboarding, but I'm sure you guys have noticed there is a lot of negativity whenever you go in those groups. We're part of tons of ski groups on Facebook and stuff, and every once in a while you see comments still talking about like on the ski groups where people are like, "Oh, snowboarders," and you're like, "Come
what
on,
a
let's
dumb
be
photo."
positive." Yeah,
And you're like,
I hate GoPro videos. They're the worst thing ever. We had
Yeah.
a comment just like that on one of our posts. It's like, dude, keep your 2 cents to yourself. Who cares? These other people like
we're
it.
just having fun.
Yeah, and this is so not.
With our meta glasses.
Yeah, and so that brought up like our next subject is one of the things you don't see it at Mary Jane because there's nowhere you can straight line. But I saw a bunch of straight liners on Sunday, and I'm not going to be critical of Winter Park. Like, it's a hard thing to patrol. They're out there doing it.
Yeah.
You see the mountain safety people. But what is it with straight lining these days of just tucking it? And I think one of the inspirations for that is I do see some ski videos where somebody like tucks a mountain chute. And yeah, okay, you're the only one that's going to get injured if it doesn't go well. And then so I think people see that on social and then they're like, I'm going to go tuck school marm.
That's not.
Yeah.
They're not doing it on a blue square. I mean, Isabel had her tips ran over the other day. And, and it was a dude just going 40 miles an hour down a blue, and you're like, "What? Come on!" Like, go. There's places, especially now that these mountains are 100% open. There's places you can go fast safely by yourself, and if you're going to put yourself at risk, go ahead, but don't put other people that are trying to learn at risk. Like, it grinds my gears. It's just not. It's not cool. It's not what we do. It's not.
Yeah, make turns. There's no reason to be going to straight line, to be going that fast. Because you know what? Even if you're like, "Oh, I'm in control," you got to watch for the other people that are down below you. Yeah.
Yeah. And what are those videos called? So they're on a lot of ski websites, and they're
like the who's at fault.
Who's at fault? And it's
she was 6, you were doing 60, and it's like the snow angel. They have that at Eldora.
Well, no, these are videos like on social, and people post them, and they say who's at fault, and there's two people skiing, and they collide, and what's amazing to me is there's a big debate in the comments, and it's really simple. Like, you know, the downhill skier. So if you are closer to the bottom,
has the right of way,
lower in elevation, however you want to look at, has the right of way. And so many people are like, the skier, the snowboarder shouldn't have taken a right turn so quickly. And yes, you should have some responsibility if you're skiing along and everybody's going straight to not just jam on a left turn. But if you do, and somebody hits you, it's their fault.
Yeah.
They were the uphill skier and they hit you.
They should be watching what people below them are doing.
And a good example of that was at Mary Jane this weekend. There's that catwalk that circles the mountain. And at the end of the day, we're coming back. And I could tell this snowboarder, and I'm not picking on snowboarders, was looking over to the side to hit those little whoopties on the side. And so I kind of hit the brakes, a little snowplow. And sure enough, the snowboarder cranked it to the left, hit the whoopty, caught a beautiful air. I'll give him that. But another skier just let him have it, you know, like, hey, and it really was the other skier's fault. Like they were trying to cut between the snowboarder and the edge of the catwalk, and the snowboarder startled him. And I get it. You're startled. You're looking for somebody to blame. But there is a thing called the Skier's Safety Code,
put out by the NSAA, the National Ski Areas Association. Started in 1962, and this is the responsibility code. Do you want me to read it out?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's going to take 5 minutes, but it seems like it's something that people could use to hear, because if you get injured or injure somebody else, like your season's either over or somebody else's season's over. And yeah, let's hear it.
Number 1, always stay in control. You must be able to stop or avoid people or objects. I mean, that covers 90% of things that would happen on a mountain. Be in control. Be able to stop if something happens outside of your control.
And there's times that I'll be honest, I push that one to the limit, but not around other people.
No.
Yeah.
I'll push that to the limit in the trees, skiing bumps in the trees, whatever. I like to ride on the edge, but I never do it around other people.
Yeah. Number 2, people ahead or downhill of you have the right of way. You must avoid them. That's what we were just talking about, is downhill has right of way. Number 3, stop only where you are visible from above and do not restrict traffic. So don't stop in the middle of the run.
Well, that's an underestimated one because you're on the other side of a knoll.
Yeah.
Especially at these resorts where people are straight lining, they're popping off those knolls and catching air. Next thing you know, you got a pair of skis in your face, snowboard in your face. So you go off to the side and be away from, be visible to everybody downhill.
Yeah.
Super important.
You know where I always stop when I'm on crowded runs? The same place every time. On the other side of the sign that says slow.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the slow sign isn't going to provide me with any protection. I get it. But it also is very visible, and it you probably could find better places to stop where you might get some protection. But I always, if you're looking for me,
That's a great spot.
I stop on the other side of the slow down sign or the slow skiing area sign.
Number 4, look uphill and avoid others before starting downhill or entering a trail. Just be mindful of where you are.
Courteous.
Look uphill before you enter.
I'm always looking over my shoulder.
Same.
Whether I'm the downhill skier or not, and I have the right of way, it's a merge, I'm making a big carve, whatever. I'm looking uphill to make sure that there's no one straight lining behind. Just being aware of your surroundings. It's that simple. A lot of this is common sense stuff that I wish people.
You would think.
Yeah, you wish. Number 5, you must prevent runaway equipment. And I mean, modern bindings all have that. I don't even know
Ski
what it's
brake.
called. Ski brake. Thank you. That is made to stop runaway equipment.
Oh, and here's this too: a leash on a snowboard required, which is pretty old news nowadays. I think when I was first starting, it was like a new law. Like it's required, and you must have a leash.
Those anymore.
You must wear a leash on your board.
All right.
I mean, they do, because lifties will enforce it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't noticed. I don't pay that close
Where
attention.
does the leash go to on a snowboard?
It's like a paracord that's attached to your binding, and then it has a little clip that you attach to your boot.
Got it.
I've seen them before, but I just feel like that's like an early 2000s.
They're there.
Shtick.
They're there.
We got to keep an eye out for it. Now I'm curious. Like,
Now I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'll look
many-
this weekend.
We should do a count.
Number 6, read and obey all signs, warnings, and hazard markings. I mean,
Yeah.
that's as much that's really for your safety.
Thin cover, slow, trails merge.
I
Yeah.
say this
Pay
all
attention.
the time in our profession where we put on events. We didn't put the sign up for nothing. If it
Yeah.
says slow down on this corner,
Probably
like we put those signs up because you
Yep.
need to slow down on the corner, not because some nefarious reason that we want to see how slow we can make bikes go or something.
Or those, caution poles that are like, oh, there's some powder right there. No, there's probably a big boulder.
Yeah.
They're there. They're there for a reason.
Yeah.
Number 7, and this is very important. Keep off of closed trails and out of closed areas. There's a reason it's closed.
Same thing.
That's funny. I was like, man, I should have said closed signs too. You should probably not like duck some ropes. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
don't.
bad idea. You're going to have a bad time. Or get
Yeah.
your pass pulled.
Yeah.
Ski patrol doesn't want to be the bad guy. Don't make him the bad guy.
Number 8, you must know how and be able to load, ride, and unload lifts safely. If you need assistance, ask the lift attendant. I mean, practice on easier lifts. Practice on a lot of bunny hills have slower lifts.
The magic
Yeah.
carpet.
Know how to do it. Well, magic carpet, I honestly feel like won't help you for a lift. You should know how to do that
Just
also.
start there.
Yeah, and another thing is, and I got the privilege of doing this the other day, is I was with a really young girl, and she got separated from her family who got on the chair in front of her, and I knew what was going to happen. She wasn't going to make it on the chair, so I picked her up and put her on the chair. If you can help somebody, and I'm not advocating just grab somebody's kid and throw them on the chair. I kind of felt forced into this situation, but also you can help people like, hey, look the other way. You know, the bar is on the other side or something like that. You know, give people a little tip.
You know, and something I'll add to that as well is if you are a person who skis a lot and you never use the bar. If you never put the bar down, don't be a jerk to other people who want to put the bar down, who feel more safe putting the bar down. Let them put the bar down. But if they're new, you can still help them with, all right, now we got to lift it so we can get off safely.
And the other side of the coin is if you're going to put the bar down, let people know. Let
Yes.
your chairmates know, hey, I'm going to put the bar down so I don't crack you in the top of the head and
Yeah.
whatever the case may be.
Let the chair leave the ground before you try to put the bar down.
Please. Let's see. Number 9, do not use lifts or terrain when impaired by alcohol or drugs.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
I agree. Everybody's probably like, I can hack it. But if you, and I'm not bragging, but I've had some experience drinking and skiing, and you suck.
Yeah.
Like, you can't ski like you think you can. It's like driving. Nothing good's going to come of it. So don't. That's what après ski is for.
And
Absolutely.
I mean, the thing that people never think about, even people that have lived in Colorado their whole lives, up in Summit County, it's twice as high in elevation, and that'll sneak up on you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and you think you're good at different elevation, and you're going to get yourself in a tricky place probably.
That's a good point.
That's a great point.
And final, number 10, if you're involved in a collision or incident, share your contact info with each other and a ski area employee. I mean, it's like if you get in a wreck in your car. Share contact information.
Yeah, and we've seen on the news and socials of there was a snow bike collision in Keystone, a snow bicyclist, which we're just going to call a skier at this point, or a snowboarder, whatever you want to call him, crashed into a man and his daughter and then left the scene. And man, I mean, just think about what kind of person you are. You are in trouble.
Yep.
And
You're in way more trouble now.
Yeah.
you got to
Way
stay
more.
and face up to it. And there's another reason not to drink, because imagine how much that's going to compound it. Like, have some respect all around. That's all the skier's safety coach should say, is have some
Yeah.
respect, but people, you got to spell it out in 10 steps for them.
100%.
So
10 easy steps. It's not that hard to be a responsible skier.
Wheaton's Law. Don't be a dick. I can cut that out.
you know what? I believe in this thing, and it's called ski karma. And I feel like it has led me through the last 10 years of my skiing. And it leads me to powder lines. It leads me to lack of lift lines. It leads me to meet neat people. And it's just, I go skiing with the most positive attitude, and I want to help people and have fun, and I want to rip. And then, man, good things happen to me on
You
the
help
mountain.
you help that young skier get on the lift. You check on that person who wrecked and is missing both their skis. You grab one, you sidestep back up and give it to them. Say, hey, you all right? Cool. Have a good day. It's ski karma.
Ski
That's what you do.
karma.
Because if I'm piled up in a wreck and my skis are down the hill, I hope someone's going to help me out, because I'm probably in pain.
Yeah.
Like, and they might not be. They might be learning, but I know if my skis are down the hill, something bad happened, and I want someone to help me out. So,
Yeah, that's a good point. Like grabbing somebody's skis or poles, and you hate it because you were like, now I have to miss my line and I have to do that. But it comes around, goes around.
or
Yeah.
as simple as just slowing down and saying, hey, are you okay?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I'm good. And then you still
can keep
finish
going.
your line. You don't have to even completely stop. Just saying, hey, man, you good? And they're like, no. And then you stop, and you can call ski patrol. You can help them out, whatever the case may be. But it's common courtesy, respect. Don't be a dick.
I did walk out of my ski at Copper.
We saw, I have photos.
We should post that photo. But I walked out of my ski, and I just had to claw my way back up. And finally, somebody else came down the same line and he handed me my ski. And it, oh man, I felt so much better that I didn't have to go all the way back up. I just got about halfway, and it took me like 5 minutes.
At the bottom of drain pipe. I got photos of that. Well, we'll prove the ski karma theory, or the ski karma life or belief, whatever you want to call it. We'll prove it this weekend. We're going up to Winter X 6000. I don't know what edition it is. I've been to almost all of them. It was in Vermont. So it started in Crested Butte, and then the very next year it was in Vermont. So I didn't go to Vermont. I did go to Crested Butte, and they had snow mountain bike racing and ice climbing when it was in Crested Butte, and a bunch of other things. They had those little skate skis, and I remember the big snowboard in the half pipe, which, man, just was like 30 feet wide. It was just teensy compared to the ones today. It was like a front side rodeo. Todd Richardson, you'll hear him have some negative comments about, maybe justified negative comments about the X Games this weekend. I know he spoke up last year, but we're going to Winter X this weekend. We're going to push the ski karma because it's going to be a great weekend, and we're going to ski the Aspens. We don't know which one of the Aspens. We won't ski Buttermilk is my guess, but we probably will ski Snowmass, Ajax, and Highlands.
We'll see. There's supposed to be snow and sunshine in the forecast for the next couple of days. So see what Ski Karma has in store for us.
Yes, and then we're going to do après ski at where I think is the very best après ski place anywhere. And the only thing you could take away from this place as a negative is it isn't right on the mountain. It's 4 blocks from the base of Aspen Mountain or Ajax. It's called the Jerome. You guys are going to love it. We'll wear our cowboy hats.
I can't wait.
Is that the hotel?
The Jerome is a hotel, but there's a restaurant and bar in there, and it's like from the Old West, and it's just I don't know. It's cool. I don't know how to.
You can't go wrong with après and Aspen at any of them. I remember going to Snowmass, and there's that one up on the hill about halfway.
Oh, the Mexican restaurant, and
this is up on the hill. It's like the Midway Shack.
Oh, okay.
And we partied there until Ski Patrol was like, everybody, it's time to go.
Yeah.
And, man, it was springtime, so it was still light out. It's 5 o'clock, and you're skiing down. You're like, that was fun.
Nice.
And my family likes this Mexican restaurant not really at the very base of Snowmass, but partway up, and anybody that's familiar is probably trying to tell me the name right now. But we go there a lot too. Yeah, Winter X.
How about Belly Up Aspen? You've ever been there?
I have. I've seen Blues Traveler there before.
It's a world-renowned place.
Yeah, it is a world-renowned place. And I'm sure somebody big is playing there this weekend.
I'm sure.
Our friend from Brian Uri is playing there in the last few days. Somebody we used to work with.
Nice.
Yeah. So, all right.
Last thing before we wrap up is I'm going to say we're going to look ahead. Anybody got plans for what music they're building for the coming weekend?
I'm going all natural. No music.
My dog.
I tried the music. It was fun. I was skiing green circles, blue squares with Isabel and Keystone, and it helped because I was, just making a million turns, just doing my thing, trying to help her get better. But nah, I can't do it. I didn't like it. I don't hear the song when I'm skiing. I don't want to talk to these guys. Dave, what are you going to listen to?
I think because I use an iPhone and I download music and then whatever's downloaded. And I downloaded a Grateful Dead live. It's 65 songs. It's called Winter Solstice Live, and has songs from the 60s and 70s on there. So I'll probably pull a playlist out of that. And yeah.
Nice.
That was me. That was a snow report. Trust me.
Yeah, I believe that. I honestly am not 100% sure what I'm going to be listening to. There is a new Coast Contra album out that I might rock out to. Might be too much. I might go back to Queen. We're just going to see where the vibe takes me.
If I had to pick, I'd probably do like some Big Head Todd or something.
Ooh, that would be a good choice.
That's a good one.
Or The Dead. The Dead live is pretty good to ski to. Vibe to. But
yeah, what's a great album to ski to is the Dead and Company live that we actually went to in Boulder.
Yeah, Folsom Field. The third night was the. I mean, I haven't been to a ton of Dead shows, maybe 25 or 30, which on the scale of Dead shows is pretty low. But that was my favorite show ever. So that's a great idea. I think I might listen to that too.
I always have that one downloaded. It's a good one.
I do know that Dylan's going to be listening to Abbey Road because the Beatles are probably the best band ever. And that is going to wrap up our podcast here.
Wait. I got one last thing. When I was skiing at Winter Park, I saw these stickers on the chairlift that said, Nick hates Pearl Jam. And I don't know if it's our Nick, but I want to make some stickers that says Dylan hates the Beatles.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Well, that does it.
That's it for this time.
There it is.
Remember to follow us on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and YouTube, all at How to Ski It. Be sure to check the description for some of the links we talked about today. For Dylan, Ryan, Dave, I'm Marcus. We'll see you next time.
Downhill skier has the right of way.
I'm Ryan. I was good.